You guys see where my camera is right now? Oh my god, so ratchet. This is my first video. This is like my 18th take. I am really nervous. Oh my god. But yeah, my name is Jessica. I'm a new mom. My son is Easton Thurowski. He's 2 months old, and I just wanted to create videos, create content, hopefully inspire mothers out there, get suggestions from comments to help me out of anything that I can improve as a mother, and just pretty much follow my journey as a mother in the videos that I record. And I think it'll be fun, so I wanted to, you know, start a channel and see where it goes. For my first video, I wanted to do an introduction video as my labor and delivery, to kind of tell you guys the whole story of how it all started and how it all happened. I'm gonna start my video right now. Okay, so it all started, you know, when I got pregnant, but it all started February 17th, which is a Wednesday, okay, 2021. I went in for an ultrasound. I was 39 weeks, just wanted to check me out and just check on the baby. Throughout my pregnancy, I did have a little bit of complications, not anything severe, but, you know, a couple things that they wanted to monitor and keep an eye out for. But by 39 weeks, you know, I was super confident and super sure that everything was okay and everything was going to go naturally and it was all going to be good. So I went into this appointment. The lady did her thing. She checked out the baby through the ultrasound, and then I took a seat in the waiting room, and she basically said that she was going to call the radiologist. The radiologist were going to go through the scans, and they would send me home and everything was going to be fine. So she comes in, she goes, so I'm here thinking she's going to send me home. She comes in, she goes, hey, the radiologist wants to speak with you on the phone. So I'm like, what? I was like, oh my goodness, what the hell? So I'm going in, I'm super nervous. I'm here thinking, like I said, everything was fine because I'm literally about to be due next week. So I speak with her on the phone, and she basically told me in a nutshell that my son was smaller than what he should be at 39 weeks, and that he actually lost a little bit of weight in the womb. So I was freaking out. Since it's COVID, you can't have your partner with you or any support system, mother, best friend, nothing. So I was all alone. I was like freaking out. I tried to like keep it together. I wanted to like break down crying because I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is like horrible. She tells me she's gonna speak with my OB and think of a plan of what to do next, what steps to take, but she's pretty confident that I would be induced either today or tomorrow. I'm freaking out. I call Sean, my fiance, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. Like, this is so messed up. And we're just both like super nervous and super, you know, like we don't really feel good because we were like super confident going into, I keep saying super, I'm so sorry. Anyways, she sends me home, the radiologist, and she says, your OB will talk to you, will call you in an hour or so. I'm like, okay. So I'm waiting for the phone call. After an hour, my OB calls me, and she basically told me that I had to get induced because the baby was shrinking, and it's better to get the baby out of there as soon as possible to feed him with nutrients and get him to the required weight. So I said, okay. I was like, you know, she said that I can go in that same night or I can go in the morning. And I did want to go in at night, but I wanted to also go in with a positive mindset, and I didn't want to be so negative, and, you know, I just wanted everything to be good. So I said, let me just go in the morning. Let me sleep on this. Let me just relax, because I needed to take a breather. I needed to take some time to process everything that was going on. She said, you know, you have nothing to worry about, you know, but as a new mom, you don't know what to expect. You haven't been through this. So this whole experience is scary. You know, you're carrying this human being for like 8-9 months, and you don't want anything to go wrong, especially at the end of your term. So, you know, it's a little freaking out and stuff. It was crazy. Yes. So I went in to the hospital February 18th in the morning to start the induction process. COVID rules, you are not allowed to bring anyone in. So Sean couldn't come in. I was so upset. Like, oh my god, doing this all alone was horrible. I went in by myself, and I went in Thursday morning, the 18th. Went in the morning, and pretty much they there are levels to induction. So they start off with the gel, and there's like some properties in the gel that's supposed to dilate your cervix and, I don't know, open it up. So they put the gel in me. Before the gel, they examine you. The examination freaking hurts. They like check your cervix, and oh my god, it's so painful. Like, it feels like being a virgin all over again. Like, it's horrible. So they checked me, checked that I wasn't dilated enough, opened me up, put in the gel, and come back in the morning, Friday morning. If your water doesn't break, come back in the morning. If it does break, come back. All of Thursday, I had the gel in me and nothing happened. So I ended up going back in Friday morning, sorry. So now this is February 19th, Friday morning. They checked me. I wasn't even dilated at all. So they checked me. I was completely the same. And they're like, okay, we're going to try something else. And they inserted this ring. It was like this kind of like, what is it? I don't know what the material is. I don't know what it is, but it's basically like a flexible ring that they inserted into me. So whatever, they did the examination before they inserted it, hurt again, checked me, put the ring inside, and then they told me to come back in the nighttime if my water doesn't break. So I said, okay. Went home, nothing happened, so I come back in the nighttime. So I come back in the nighttime, and pretty much I am the same. Nothing happened. I think I actually was dilated 1/2 centimeter, which was like not what they wanted to hear. So they're like, okay, we're gonna keep it in a little bit longer. We're gonna send you home in like for the night and come back Saturday morning. So I'm like, okay. They left the ring in, went home, slept, woke up in the morning, water didn't break. So I'm like, okay. So I go in Saturday morning now. And they examined me again. Like, I probably got like 4 or 5 examinations. Like, oh my god, for all you women out there, mothers who have had an examination done, you know what I'm talking about. It freaking hurts. So imagine like 4, 5, 6 examinations all in like 48 hours. Like, it's messed up. I go in Saturday morning and they check me again, and I think I was dilated 1 centimeter. So before they wanted to admit me, they wanted me to be at least 2 centimeters. So I wasn't even there. So now they're like, okay, we're going to try something else. So this one was a balloon type of induction. And this one, oh my god, it freaking hurt. So they insert this balloon, okay, smaller than that, like insert a balloon, and they basically pump it to how big they wanted it to be. So, oh my god, it was so horrible. They inserted it. They pumped up the balloon. It freaking hurt. Like, oh my god, it hurt so bad. And the point of all this is they wanted the balloon to fall out on its own. So they said once a balloon falls out on its own, you're dilated enough, you're pretty much 2 centimeters. So I said, oh my god, okay, whatever. They kept me in for monitoring, and within like 15 minutes, I started feeling this pain. Like, I couldn't even breathe. I was literally holding onto the bed, screaming for dear life. I called the nurse, and she was looking at me like I was kind of exaggerating in a way. And I was like, telling her like, this hurts so bad. She's like, no, like, you know, like, it's okay, just relax. And I'm like, this girl thinks I'm lying. I'm like, no, I am in so much pain. Like, and I was by myself. I didn't even have anyone to help me, to calm me down. It was a horrible experience. I was screaming to a point where the nurses gave me something. They gave me morphine to help with the pain. So they gave me some morphine, kept me for another 30 minutes, and then they sent me home. They sent me on my way downstairs, and they didn't even help me. I guess they're like short-staffed. I have no idea, but I was literally wobbling down the freaking steps to get to the car, and I was like in so much pain. I looked like I was on drugs. Like, I looked like a pregnant drug addict. Like, it was so messed up. And then on the way home, imagine like this big balloon in my, and every single bump that I hit on the road, I wanted to freaking scream. Like, I was in so much pain. So they told me that when the balloon drops to come in, right when I got home, I'm probably 15 minutes from the hospital. Right when I got home, I go to the washroom to pee, and the balloon drops. Bruh. you know how pissed I was? Oh my god, if you hear my son crying, he's crying. His daddy has him do. Yeah, I gotta create this video. So the balloon drops right when I got home. And I'm like, what the? I was so upset because I'm like, I was just at the hospital, and this is probably why I was in so much pain, because it was probably working so suddenly. So I called them, I'm like, the balloon dropped, and then the nurse was so shocked too. She's like, oh really? She's like, oh my goodness, all right, well just come back then. And I'm like what? Like, why did you send me home? Like, are you guys... I was so mad. So whatever. I go back all the way to the hospital. They checked me again, and they're like, okay, you're dilated enough. We're gonna admit you. Now your husband can come in. So I'm like, oh my god, thank God. Like, so all of this induction examinations, it's all over. I'm like, okay, now I'm just gonna have to give birth. All right, smooth sailing from here. Not smooth sailing, but you know, at least I'm in. I don't have to keep doing this. It's all good. But my water didn't break yet. I was just dilated enough to be admitted. So me and Sean go in. This is now Saturday afternoon. Me and Sean go in at I think we got admitted at like 2 p.m. Sorry. Okay. So we go in, and we're chilling, whatever. I'm starting to feel contractions. But you know, like, this is my first pregnancy, so I don't know how intense is. So I'm feeling stuff, and they did hurt, but I didn't know like if that's what I was supposed to be feeling, if that's how extreme they're supposed to feel. I had no idea, but I did know that I wanted the epidural, so I didn't want to wait too long and tough it out too much to a point where they're like, okay, sorry, like, you can't get the epidural anymore. They're still waiting for my water to break, and they told me if it doesn't break in the next like couple hours that they're gonna manually break it. So I'm like, okay. I think it's about 5 p.m. The contractions are still, you know, they're still hurting, they're still intense. And he comes in and he goes, okay, your water didn't break, we're gonna have to break it. So he like does another examination to open me up, and he inserts this kind of like hook thing, and he breaks my water. The pain that I'm feeling after my water broke was way more intense. So he comes back in, he goes, do you want an epidural? I'm like, yes, please give me the epidural. So he gives me the epidural. It didn't really hurt. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, it did hurt. It was kind of scary because he told me to like hold onto the pillow and like don't move. And you know, I hear horror stories like, you know, if you move you can get paralyzed. So I'm here like still as a statue, like, oh my god, please, please, please. It goes in, I feel like a cool sensation, and then he pretty much tells me how to work it. You like administer as much as you want and whatever. So I'm like, okay. Sean comes back in, the epidural's in, and I fall asleep. It like knocked me out. I was not feeling any contractions whatsoever. Like, there's a monitor that was right beside, and like when I was looking at the monitor and I seen contractions going, I didn't feel them, so I was feeling good. When I woke up from my nap, my leg, something, I felt kind of like a weird feeling in my leg. So I called the nurse, and the nurse goes, oh, like, what's up? And I'm like, oh, hey, I kind of feel something weird in my leg. Like, she goes, what? You're not supposed to feel anything. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. I feel something in my leg. So she takes an ice pack. She tries my left side, and my left side is numb. She tries my right side, and she's like, do you feel like the cold on your leg? And I'm like, yeah, it's cold. She's like, what? She's like, oh my gosh, the epidural didn't work. Like, okay, hold on, just give me 1 second. The anesthesiologist comes back in, he checks me out, he goes, oh my gosh, like, you should not be feeling anything. So I'm freaking out, like, what? And he's like, we may have to give you another one. But instead he kind of like adjusted the needle a bit, and then after an hour or so, I don't even know how long, I started to feel numb again. So it worked, so I didn't have to get it again. But you know, I was like, I do not want to get a second epidural, but I do not want to be feeling these contractions either. Then it all worked out. He changed up the epidural, and then it was fine. Now, you know, time is going by. It's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and I start to feel pressure around, I think it was around like 11 o'clock. I started to feel, yeah, like a slight pressure. Then around like 11:30, closer to 12, like midnight, I felt like this intense pressure out of nowhere. Like, it felt like I had to take the biggest ish in the entire world. So I call my friend. She just had a baby, I think a couple months ago. So I call her and I'm like, hey, like, what does it feel like when you're about to give birth? She told me what I'm feeling is what I'm supposed to feel. So she's like, oh, the baby's gonna come anytime soon. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And I wasn't fully dilated. I was about 8, closer to 9 centimeters, but they wanted me to be 10. The desired amount of centimeters that they want you to be when you start pushing is 10, and I was about 8 or 9. So the nurse came back. She's like, you're not dilated enough, like you're gonna have to just, you know, pretty much tough it out, like chill. But I just couldn't. I was in so much pain. I started screaming. I started making like noises that I don't even know existed within my speech. My fiance, you know, he's there trying to calm me down, like, just, you know, you're okay, blah, blah, blah. But I was in so much pain. I'm like, no, no, no. You need to call this nurse right now. Like, I can't do this. Like, it was too much. She checked me again, and I still wasn't at 10. But the way that I was acting, she's like, okay, let's start pushing. I guess I was just freaking out too much that they're like, okay, we're gonna have to start pushing. So they set me up. All the nurses came in, they set me up, and the OB still wasn't here. And I started pushing. Like, the nurse was the one that was instructing me to push, and I'm like, oh my god, like, where's OB? So then OB comes, you know, gets suited up. He's like, what's going on? Like, we're pushing already? And she's like, yeah, you know, like, she's almost 10 centimeters, and, you know, like, she's feeling all this pain. So he's like, okay. So he's trying to get the baby out of me. So he's like, you know, we're doing the whole push, whatever. Every time I feel a contraction, I'm pushing. So my son, when the baby comes out, he's supposed to come out face first, like upright. But he was turned around. He wasn't breached, but he was facing the wrong way. There's like a fetal monitor that monitors his heart rate as well. So because I guess I was pushing and he wasn't budging because he was faced the wrong way, his heart rate was dropping. So the OB is like, okay, while I'm pushing, I'm in so much pain, I don't even know what's going on because I'm just trying to get this baby out. He's like, okay, so we're gonna have to take a suction and we're gonna have to suction him out. He's like, but you're gonna tear if, you know, we do this. And the way that he said it was kind of like he was giving me an option. So I was like, okay, like, what's the other option? He's like, there's no other option. Your baby's heart rate's dropping. Like, we need to do it. But I guess, like, they say it in a way that they have to give you an option, and they're not trying to tell you that you have to do it because it is your decision. You have to give them consent. So I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, just do it. Like, get him out of me. So they suction him out. They take a suction, they put it in, and they basically, like, pull him out. And he came out. And I tore. Yeah, it was freaking painful. The whole process was painful. I didn't even know if the pain I was feeling was from me tearing or him coming out. Is probably just literally everything. Like, my god. But he came out pretty quick. I started feeling the pain, like that pressure at 12:30. And he was born Sunday morning at like 1:04 in the morning. So he came out in like 30 minutes. I didn't really get to hold him because I had a 2nd-degree tear. It wasn't as bad, but you know, the healing process was actually like pretty freaking horrible. So, you know, they're taking care of him, getting him all good, and they're stitching me up. And I'm like just feeling like thread like through my, oh my god. But yeah, he was born February 21st, and it was honestly a horror story from hell. After this happened, I told Sean, like, I'm one and done. Like, I wanted 3 kids, but I'm like, no, one and done. I'm not doing this again. All the examinations, all the types of induction that I went through, doing it all alone, going back and forth to the hospital for the past 3-4 days, it was tough. But then he came out. He was good. He was fine. Everything was Gucci. And yeah, that's pretty much my labor and delivery story. He did have jaundice, so we stayed at the hospital for an extra like 3 days. And just me going through it from Thursday all the way to like pretty much Thursday. I think I went home like Wednesday, almost a week in the hospital. I was just so over it. Like, I just wanted to go home. But we finally went home. He's healthy, he's safe, he's almost 3 months. We're all good. And yeah, I will be introducing him to my channel throughout my videos. I have nighttime routines coming, a day in the life of me, and all this stuff. But that is pretty much my labor and delivery story. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. I will see you in the next one. Oh my god, guys, I have no idea how to do this. I have no idea how to close out these videos. I'm so sorry. I'm so new to this. But yeah, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.